Hey guys, today I'm going to react to Russian scientists detail that they encountered something huge deep within the lake in Antarctica. So I'm really curious about this because I used to work at the zoo, and I always found it interesting about the ocean and how we only know like 1/3 of the animals in the ocean, so there's a lot that haven't been discovered yet. So this is gonna be interesting. Okay.
All across the world are tales of mysterious creatures. Some of the most interesting ones are those that are encountered in isolated regions, such as jungles and places like Antarctica. One interesting
Interesting.
story is that of organism 46b. Before information surrounding organism 46b can be discussed, the environmental context must be thoroughly identified. Reports of organism 46b's area of habitation rest within that of Lake Vostok, located more than 700 feet beneath the glacial surface of the ice at its shallowest depth,
Hmm.
and roughly 2,600 feet at its deepest region. It's at this depth that the ice from the Antarctic glaciers are under enough pressure to melt and form deep lakes. It's within one of these deep lakes, known as Lake Vostok, that the creature known as organism 46b resides in.
That's
They
so
supposedly leave
crazy.
documents surrounding the first attempts made by Russian researchers back on the 5th of February in 2012, while drilling to the lake's surface, made reference to the creature known as organism 46b. The
Hmm.
report itself was titled Organism 46b and detailed an increasingly bizarre story in which Russian scientists claimed to have encountered a massive colossal squid residing in the lake that
What?
could release toxins into the water, could squeeze itself down into small sizes, take on weird shapes, change its physical colors, and cause a mild form of hypnotism if a person began to stare at the creature for too long. Here are quotes from the supposed letter, written by a man named Dr. Anton Padaka. We encountered organism 46b on our
Wow.
first day. It disabled our radio, which we later learned to our alarm was intentional. It's also able to paralyze prey from a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend was taken out this way. He tread water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. We watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off his head, then popped the remains into his mouth. It was as if it had
What?
hypnotized him telepathically. It shaped itself into the form of a human diver. We thought it was one of our colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear. By the time the closest scientists had
Wait, what? That's so crazy. Like, I've never heard of a squid live in such a cold area, and how could well, cause I've seen like different squids kind of like do different weird shapes so that it looks like, as if they're fish and stuff. But according to them, he said it looked like one of them. So that's pretty crazy. Man, what?
realized what it was, it had grabbed him and torn him to bits. End quote. Some variations of the legend claim that one of the tentacles of the creature had been chopped off, but that the severed tentacle later reanimated and strangled another member of the team. The legend ends claiming that there were a few.
So, um, when they're saying one of the limbs, like it didn't just die, it just like kind of like came back to life. I know sea stars are one of I'm pretty sure one of the only animals in the ocean that if you cut, like if it loses one of its like arms, if some of the mouth is still with it, it will eventually like become another sea star. So like if you imagine, like a part of me gets like cut off and separated, that like my arm would become like another sea star, like another me. And it's crazy. Like, but the thing is that takes a long, I pretty sure it takes a while, but it's crazy. But man, that's insane, because I mean, if that's creepy if that's true.
Surviving members of the expedition, and that Russian officials captured the creature in an attempt to cover up the event. Fact-checking the story leads to a number of strange dead ends that come about in areas of documented factual events that otherwise should have been explored. Here is the completed timeline of the factual events of the Lake Vostok drilling expedition. Back in January 2011, Russian scientists Valery Lukin and Sergei Balat published a paper titled Vostok Subglacial Lake, Details of Russian Plans, Activities for Drilling and Sampling. Valery Lutkin worked at the Russian Antarctic Expedition, Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute at St. Petersburg, Russia, and Sergei Balat worked at the Petersburg Nuclear Physics Institute, Russian Academy of Sciences in Russia. The document detailed the first and only public plan for a Russian expedition into Lake Vostok. Here is a portion from the introduction of the paper surrounding the expedition. The Russian Federation has developed a national project involving the drilling and sampling of Vostok Subglacial Lake, East Antarctica. The objective is to explore this extremely icy environment, using a variety of techniques to identify the forms and levels of life that exist there. The project is funded by the Russian Federal Service. End quote. During the time of the published paper, the Russian Federation had yet to receive support from other nations of the world, as their borehole efforts were actively going against the Antarctic Treaty, with the United Kingdom and United States petitioning the Russian Federation against borehole techniques due to the environmental impact of the sealed lake. Their opposition was due in part to the drilling techniques used by the Russian scientists, which included the massive use of freon and kerosene to act as a lubricant for the drilling equipment, of which would immediately drain into the lake at the point of connection. Despite the Antarctic Treaty violation, the Russian Federation continued with their efforts. Within the published paper titled Vostok Subglacial Lake, Details of Russian Plans, Activities for Drilling and Sampling, the scientists detailed a new piece of technology that would allow the borehole to use a transportation module that could be sent down into the borehole via new mechanisms and enter the lake. The diagram for the technology claims the module device and the borehole would only be 123 mm in diameter and impossible to send a diver into. However, given the secrecy of the project and the designs used, such a technology could have been sealed up to send a research team into the borehole if made slightly larger. The technology also shows evidence of human-sized transportation modules, given that the module's designs had a height and width that would scale to fit a human body, and these would fit in a cylindrical tube, of a height 3 times the tube's width. On October of 2011, Valery Lutkin, the co-author of the published paper, was at the Antarctic Research Station alongside Alexei Turgev, of whom were both overseeing the drilling expedition. The expedition continued for several weeks, up until the end of December, before issues first arose amongst the expedition. The reason for why Valery Lutkin first started his expedition in October of 2011 was due to October being the summer months for the Antarctic continent, keeping the location at its warmest for the expedition. These summer months only last from the beginning of October to the 5th of February. However, after the 6th, the expedition must be called off due to temperatures plummeting below 40 degrees Celsius. On the 28th of December, the Russian team claimed they had less than 5 meters left to drill before striking into the lake, and were confident they would meet their goal before the end of the Antarctic summer months. It was surely.
Wait a minute. So this whole time, so they did all of this just so they can see if they can find like more oil. Man, that's crazy. Like thinking you're gonna like your original purpose was to find like oil or whatever in like an untouched area, and then you just find this other thing that you did not expect. Like it almost sounds like a monster movie. It's like it's crazy. Like oh man.
For this last transmission, however, that the team would then undergo a 6-day radio silence for reasons not entirely understood. This was an article published on the 3rd of February, 3 days before the reported breach confirmation of Lowe. The world holds its breath, hoping for the best after 6 days of radio silence from Antarctica, where a team of Russian scientists is racing the clock, and the oncoming winter to dig to an alien lake far beneath the ice. The team's last contact with colleagues in the unfrozen world was 6 days ago, and scientists from around the globe are unsure of the fate of the mission, and the scientists themselves, as Antarctica's winter draws near. End quote.
Oh yeah.
Given the last transmission, it was believed that the Russian team would have bored into Lake Vostok on the 29th of December. However, their claims of breach would come after a 9-day radio silence on the 6th of February, of which was the longest amount of time the expedition team could have waited before forcing the end of the expedition due to winter weather. This would have provided the team with more than 9 days to cover up any events that would have occurred shortly after the breach on the 29th of October. It's due to this that the sudden radio silence after the 28th of October provides a merit of truth to the claims of cover-up efforts, and over a week's span of time dealing with organism 46b. Shortly after the end of the expedition, half of Valerie Lutkin's research team would end their careers in the Antarctic expeditions and leave the research team without further information surrounding the members.
Wow.
The encounter with the organism 46b led to the reported deaths of several top-secret Russian scientists, and so many believe that this is why the document could have been leaked.
Like, I wonder why they're not giving it like an official name. Like 46B. Unless they like don't want to give it an official name yet, or they can't like unless they actually studied, maybe they don't know exactly what kind of species it is. It might be a brand new one, but so kind of crazy.
As a warning to other researchers in the area, despite the far-fetched abilities of organism 46b, reports appear to match a number of known cases of squid and octopus entities. In fact, every single ability mentioned by the letters that organism 46b might possess appears to match many of the abilities found in deep-sea species of cephalopods, and environments that would be similar in light, pressure and water quality to organism 46b's. Here is a detailed writing surrounding the theoretical ability of telepathic traits of the creature, and how the ability could be scientifically explained.
Okay,
Understanding organism 46b's ability to perform telepathic ability is both difficult and nearly impossible, as the mechanisms for telepathy is still not entirely understood in the modern day. However, assumptions and data information surrounding numerous marine animals can be made as to what might be responsible for their telepathic abilities. It's important to note that there is evidence in scientific endeavors in the realm of neuroscience, and the ability to translate the neurons near random electrical impulse firings into readable information that can be displayed or understood. In fact, back in 1999, there was a research study by Dang Yang at the University of Berkeley, California, that successfully recreated what a cat observes in the physical world, using pure data retrieved from visual neurons. The implications of this finding means that if someone could create a technology so sensitive and accurate in picking up electromagnetic fields, one could remotely detect these occurrences coming from the human brain, and work to gather the data required to translate your thoughts and brain signals into readable information.
What?
If we take this theory of data retrieval from the brains of animals via sensing electrical impulses and changes in the electromagnetic field, then there is evidence of evolution granting this ability amongst life here on Earth. Referred to as electroreception, is a sense that humans do not seem to possess that gives animals the ability to perceive natural electrical stimuli in other forms of life around them. Electrical reception on Earth has only been seen to occur almost exclusively in aquatic life, or amphibious animals that spend their time in salt water, since salt water is a much better natural conductor compared to the surrounding air. This ability is so sensitive, in fact, that young sharks can recognize the specific characteristics and traits of electrical stimuli, and they use this to help them pick up on predators. Given the fact the organism 46B is expected to live its entire life in a completely dark...
I had no idea that, like, sea animals could do that. Because I was thinking maybe, like, earlier, maybe the thing was, like, getting the person into, like, a trance or something, but that would be crazy, like, if that's what it was able to do. It can kind of, like, sense your, like, emotions in a way, but, man.
Underwater environment, it's possible that the species could have evolved a complex form of electroreception. Here is a detailed writing surrounding the theoretical ability of hypnotic traits within organism 46B, and how the ability could be scientifically explained. Squids are one of the very few species in the world that can camouflage, and change the pigments of their skin so rapidly that they can make a variety of colours. Additionally, the glass squid species is capable of using bioluminescence, and it does this to temporarily stun fish and seemingly hypnotize them to be consumed. Given the depth and lack of light deep within the underground Lake Vostok, it's of a high probability that if a large marine animal were to exist within the trapped lake, they would also possess evolutionary abilities to generate bioluminescence. Bioluminescence tied with a squid's ability to alter the colour of the pigments of its skin could create seizure-inducing colours and shape that could temporarily cause an individual to become hypnotized or undergo a seizure if one was to look directly at the creature. This could explain the hypnotic effects as reported in the leaked documents. Here is a detailed writing surrounding the theoretical ability of shape-shifting traits within organism 46B, and how the ability could be scientifically explained. Given the lack of bones or large deposits of cartilage within an octopus, the species is capable of squeezing through small openings, and squeezing their body size down to impossible sizes.
That's definitely possible.
In fact, a 600-pound octopus is capable of pushing its entire body through a hole the size of a quarter, as long as an opening is large enough to allow the creature to fit.
A 600-pound can squeeze itself through the size of a quarter. What? Oh, man. That's so mind-blowing. It's crazy.
Speak through. It will travel through the opening with relative ease. It's for this reason that the claim of shape-shifting abilities of organism 46B are realistic to the species, of which it seems to have evolved from. Additionally, a borehole the size of 123 millimeters would have been more than enough of a size to fit its body through, if it were to make an attempt to reach the surface of the glacier. Here is a detailed writing surrounding the theoretical ability of toxic traits within organism 46B, and how the ability could be scientifically explained. The use of toxins from organism 46B seem to stem from real-life examples of cephalopods using small amounts of venomous toxins. The blue-ringed octopus is an octopus only roughly the size of a standard golf ball, but contains enough venom to cause the demise of 26 adult men. The blue-ringed octopus also has a number of other strange abilities, such as the ability to use jet propulsion, by funneling water to allow it to move faster in the water. It could be possible that organism 46b also possesses these abilities and is capable of
Looks like
ejecting
an
venom.
alien or something.
If the claims surrounding the creature are to be believed, then it has the following abilities that have allowed it to take out several individuals: shape-shifting hypnosis, camouflage colossal size, ability to shrink, telepathy and large quantities of toxins. Given its dangers and efforts needed to be contained by the Russian Federation, as claimed by the leaked document, this could very well mean that organism 46b is one of the most dangerous creatures naturally living on planet Earth. Its ability to be weaponized for future efforts also seems to be a very real possibility, given the claims of the leaked document and other rumors that have surfaced around the creature. So what do you make of organism 46b? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.
Man, I mean, that's pretty wild. Sounds pretty crazy, but there's like a couple of things though about it though. First off, I mean, what if I can almost see, I'm not saying this is like a fact, I'm just like theorizing, is what if this is all kind of just made up to kind of like cover up or something? Or maybe it's like, you know, when it says, oh, it's leaked, what if it wasn't leaked? What if it was released on purpose to kind of distract people away from what they were actually doing? Because maybe they were looking for like oil or whatever, and they got too much attention for it, and they were just trying to like, okay, let's just make up a story and just so people will leave us alone, or like we'll kind of distract like why they were there. Or it could be real, and that would be scary. But it's crazy because like all the traits it has is like, I mean, they were talking about different types of octopuses, but how is this one octopus, or you know, whatever it's classified as, has all these traits? That's what's crazy about it. It's like, you know, like, yeah, it would literally be like the most dangerous like octopus or whatever, or squid in the ocean if it had if it has all these traits. It's like, what? But it's also interesting too, like if it is real and it's like was kept hidden, I wonder if they like caught it and they still have it. Like maybe they're like seeing like what they can do with it. Maybe it's gonna be like, but it would be crazy if it came out one day that they reveal it to the world, and it's now like this like, you know, legend or something that is actually like true. That would be crazy to actually see it, and for them to actually like, you know, study it and how like it look like what it eats and like how it lives. But that'll be interesting. But man, it's just crazy because like we know like 300,000 species, but there's still like 600, 700,000 species in the ocean that we have no idea. And it's pretty insane to see every day like newer and newer like species coming out, and it's pretty like, man, it's pretty crazy and kind of scary at the same time. But if you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, and thank you very much.